starting to see we're all threads in a tapestry, woven together, your life and mine, till our hearts and bones are intertwined. The road of life may lead us far from where we all begin, but sooner or later the hands of time weave us back in to the grand design.
You know, over these past months, I've had these moments where I just sit and consider where I would be today if I was not the senior minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. And while you might find that game that I play odd, what it has done for me is it has opened me up to all of the things that I am grateful for regarding my role in this community. It is my desire to live every day with an attitude of gratitude. So what I want to share today in the arena of thankfulness is how grateful I am to be in Aurora, Colorado, and how grateful I am to be the senior minister, and all of the doors that have opened for me and all of the things that I get to do in this position, in this role, not only for our center and not only with other spiritual centers, but in the greater community of Aurora. And so I want to say thank you to the Aurora community. I want to say thank you to all of you and all of the other lives that we have touched and all of the people that have tuned in to our talks, to our messages, to our postings. I receive emails, text messages, phone calls, cards in the mail. Some of the tithe checks that come in through the mail have little notes attached to them, acknowledging me and speaking to me, and it just fills my heart. I don't feel so terribly disconnected. I actually feel that I am part of a greater unit, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. We have the Facebook platform, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we are working on a new website. So many ways that we are touching the planet, and I'm so thrilled and grateful for the support that I receive. And in addition to that, we have the practitioners who every other week offer a Zoom into Prayer program, where you can tune in online and pray and get prayer support for whatever is going on in your life. And what we know in the world is we know that a single prayer is heard and answered. But when a group of people come together in prayer, the power kind of escalates because the consciousness is greater. And so in that Zoom into Prayer process and into that program, it really offers a lot for each of us, including myself. And the thing that has really touched my heart these past few weeks is the Sunday at 11 o'clock Hugline Online. On the Hugline Online, you tune in through a Zoom link, and we just do a check-in. We haven't been on the call for more than 30 minutes any Sunday. But what it brings forth is the face-to-face piece, which I have missed so much. And I know so many of you have as well. That ability to just look into one another's eyes and to connect. And so we get together at 11 o'clock, we do a check-in, we have a little bit of conversation, and we are off for the rest of the day. And I want to thank all of you who have participated in that as well. The things you do, whether you recognize them as significant or not, I do, because they touch my heart. They open me up and they allow me to feel connected. And right now, that's something we need so much. So today I just wanted to say thank you. I am incredibly grateful for each and every one of you and all of the many ways that we connect. Thanks. Please pray with me. Let's just take a deep breath in and allow ourselves to be fully present in the now moment. And as we do this, let us recognize that there is a power. There's a power that's present in all things, in all life. It surrounds us, it fills us. It is God, it is Spirit, and it is here now. And so what I know is in this moment, in this time, in this place, in this space, we are connected. We are one with the divine. We are protected. We are guided. And as we live in this space of knowing our connection, our unity with the divine, we also know that we are all connected one to another. One. How powerful is that word? And so we just breathe in to this space, allowing ourselves to relax in this moment, knowing that we have the opportunity to just listen, to be aware, to pay attention, and seek ideas that we can embrace that can support us in our lives today and going forward. And what I know is that all people everywhere who come together in love are blessed by God. It's perfect and it's good. And so in this place of gratitude, of thankfulness, we simply say, thank you, God, in all things, in all life, knowing that we are always connected, never alone. And so I just allow that to be as we give this gratitude for this time together and for these words of this blessing. And we just let it all go, relaxing into the moment, letting God, as we affirm this by saying, and so it is. Many of us have heard a story that took place many, many years ago. It's about a child that was born in a stable. And in this story, we know in the metaphysical meaning is that this child, Jesus, came to earth as a way shower to support and show the entire world the light. Not only the light of the divine, but the light within each and every one of us. And what is coming up a little bit later this month is a date we call Christmas. And that is the time that we have identified to celebrate the birth of Jesus. And it's not the only celebration that takes place in the month of December, because just a few days ago, on December the 10th, Hanukkah began. And that carries through till the 18th of the month. And then later in the month, we have Kwanzaa. And if you Google it, you will find 1,000,002 national celebrations that are taking place throughout the month of December. And so what we know is that when we have something coming up, an event, we must prepare for it. And many of us are familiar with this because just a month ago we were all preparing for Thanksgiving, baking and cooking, and even if your celebration for Thanksgiving was unique this year or different than it normally is, you probably still put together some preparation for it. And what we also know is that these holidays, these celebrations, are not the only day that we do the things we do. We don't just wait for Thanksgiving Day to be grateful. We don't just wait for Christmas to express love. It is something we are taught to do every day, and these are just simply anniversaries for us to celebrate. Because if you think back in the days of the early settlers, the stories that we've read talk about how the settlers and the Native Americans came together regularly to trade goods for goods and to have meals and to share the food. It didn't just happen one time and one time only. So I invite you to just take that idea with you throughout this week and throughout your life, that we get to demonstrate these behaviors and these ideas as we go along. My talk title today is called Preparing the Way. And many of us have already seen evidence that people are preparing for this holiday we call Christmas, because the tree lights are out and the people are putting posts on Facebook of how they've decorated their homes. They're preparing. In whatever way you choose, they're preparing. I want to talk about preparing for something else today, in addition to all of the wonderful holidays that are coming forth. Malcolm X said it this way: "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." It's not just about baking. It's not just about cooking a meal. It could be the lighting of candles. I honor the many, many traditions. I cherish them. I respect them. I think they're beautiful. I love to see and hear more about them. I'm fascinated by that. Something is happening in our world today. I have heard more and more people saying they cannot wait to get done with 2020. This year has been filled with confusion, challenge, chaos. There has been grumbling, there has been learnings, there has been growth. And so what I want to talk about today is, how are you preparing to let go of 2020 and move forward into 2021? Because granted, I'm done with 2020. I would like it to be over. But here's the thing. If we don't take the time to prepare, to create something new in 2021, the calendar will flip over to another date and it'll be just exactly like it has been this year. Nothing will change. We must prepare ourselves to move forward. So how can we do that? Well, I think one of the best things we can do is to let go of some of the significant things that have happened. Because if you're grumbling, if you're carrying it with you in your heart, in your attitude, in your mind, you're taking it everywhere you go. So let's consider what it would take to release it so that we can have something brand new in 2021. Now let me remind you, you have less than 3 weeks to prepare. So I don't know how long you prepare for Christmas and how long you prepare for birthdays and some of the other holidays and celebrations, but if we want to create a new way in 2021, we must prepare. So the first thing is to consider the experience of COVID-19. Are you ready to let go of the chaos and the misinformation and the confusion and those feelings that you had of being restricted from the things that you wanted to do this year? I know many of us have probably sat in a chair in our family room or living room, clutching the arms of the chair, watching the news, not knowing who to believe or what to believe. And it's time for us to let go of that grip and let go of the idea of COVID so we can move forward. And in order to do that, we have to let it go. I mean, seriously, we have to let go of the idea of it. Now, that doesn't mean you go out there and you pretend it never happened. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about preparing our consciousness to move forward, because that's what's required. So here's my question. Can you forgive all of the things that have happened to you this year around the experience of COVID? Can you forgive the individuals who said it was this way one day and this way the next because they were struggling to find the answers to also? Can you forgive the feelings of being restricted and being called to social distance in a way that we call safer at home, and you were not able to connect with family? Can you forgive that? Because when we forgive, we release it from our heart. And when we don't forgive, we carry it in our hearts with us. And I know it's been a very tough year, and we've lost a lot of people that we love and care about. Can we forgive the results that took place? Can we forgive the experience of someone making their transition from here to the next expression of life? Can we allow that to be okay? Can we tune into that consciousness within us that says, it's all right because no matter how I see it or how I feel it, the condition in spirit is perfect. We don't want January 1st to be like December 31st. We really want to choose a new experience. Another thing that took place in 2020 is the entire realization that many of us had regarding the racial unrest, the civil issues, the inequality that have taken place in our world. And this wasn't new to this year. It just kind of bubbled up with more evidence for us to look at. And for me, personally, I learned that this has been going on for almost all of time, and I was not even aware of it because it didn't impact me directly. So are you willing to let go of that piece? And what that's going to take is that's going to take us stepping into that heart space and loving everyone and recognizing we are more alike than we are different. And to embrace the fact that people have created harm to others this year. Lives have been lost in this situation as well. The crimes against humanity have been horrific. People have been fighting in the streets. Can we let that go? Can we put a healing balm on what that's about? Can we move into love? And can we embrace the idea that we are one, that we are connected? And can we forgive those who harmed others? Because again, that is what it is going to take for us to prepare to move forward. And thirdly, one of the more significant circumstances that took place this year was what we call the political scene. And I'm not going to talk about politics, but I cannot stand here and not acknowledge what has taken place. There have been arguments between leadership, past, present. There have been volatile conversations. And many of us, I understand, have canceled out our friends because of their political beliefs are different than ours. Do you want to carry that weight in your heart into 2021? So here's my question. Are you willing to let go of all of that animosity? Are you willing to let go of all of those arguments? Are you willing to forgive the people who were once close to you and currently are not because their political views are different than yours? Are you willing to take a stand for new leadership in 2021? Because if we continue with the grumbling and the anger and the angst and the acting out, we will carry that energy with us. I've heard some people say, some people that have a finger on the pulse of America, that they're very concerned because we have a level of anger that is showing up in our United States that doesn't seem to be diminishing. It doesn't seem to be melting away. It just seems to be growing and growing and growing. In our consciousness, we can change that. If we choose the idea of peace, if we choose the idea of love, compassion, and acceptance, that energy moves out from our being and touches others. We don't have to talk them into anything. The only person we need to be talking to about all of this is ourselves. So again, are you ready to forgive? Because until we forgive 2020 for all the things it's brought us, it's going to be tough to move forward. And in addition to these three areas that I have pointed out, there are all of the personal things that have happened to all of us this year. Family things, job issues, financial issues. Some of them were impacted by these other things, but some of them were not. It is time for us to prepare the way for a new beginning for 2021. So I invite you to stand in love. I invite you to embrace the idea of forgiveness, because it's about recognizing the divine truth in each and every one of us and letting all of those other discernments and criticisms and judgments go, so that we can move together as one united group of people, unified in God, and move into a new year and create something beautiful and something new. Ernest Holmes says this: God is greater than all human mistakes, and in God alone there is peace and happiness. So I invite you this week, today even, to come up with some rituals, because what a ritual does for us is it feeds the soul, it feeds the spirit, it feeds the heart, and it helps us to move through this. You don't get to just be angry today and everything's forgiven tomorrow. It doesn't quite work that way. And in addition to all of these things I'm talking about, we get to forgive ourselves. Because as I reflect back over this year, there were moments in time where I felt anger. I felt unbelievable disappointment. I felt judgmental. And I get to forgive myself for that action so that I can move forward. So consider some rituals for yourself. Maybe it's simply journaling. Maybe it's moving into prayer or moving into prayer with a group of people. I mentioned earlier our Zoom into prayer programs that we have going on Wednesday nights. When a group of people come together, maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what will serve you and help you and support you going forward. Perhaps it's just talking with a practitioner about finding that way to shift in your own world, in your own mindset. The time is now. Some of these things that I have talked about have gone on for way too long, and they have harmed us, and they have hurt us, and they've hurt so many people. What would it be like if January 1st showed up in a very different light, and we all showed up in a very different mindset? I invite you to consider that, to visualize on that, to meditate on that as we prepare for a brand new year. Please pray with me. And so again, right here and right now, I simply recognize that there is one power, one presence, one truth, one light in all things. It permeates all life. It is here today, it was here yesterday, it will be here tomorrow. It has no time and space because it is all present, everywhere present. And what I know for each and every one of us is as we recognize this and recognize this truth, this being within us, we can own our own divinity, and we can move away from that human aspect that tries to control and complicates things, and move more into that idea of being one with the divine. And in doing this, we can turn over everything that gets in our way, everything that causes us to be challenged or to stumble. And we can just hand that over to Spirit and let it go. And as we move into our heart space and we recognize the need and the very desire to forgive, we can feel that release from our heart. We can recognize that there are people that we love, and we don't necessarily have to have them close to us, but we do get to forgive them and let them be in their space how they are, sending everyone on their way with blessings and well wishes instead of criticisms and judgments. So we turn all of this over to Spirit, knowing that what we claim for ourselves is compassion, love, peace, connection, unity. And anything outside of these, we hand it over to Spirit, because God knows what to do with it. And so I give thanks. I give thanks for this time. I give thanks for the opportunity to speak these words, to take us all into this place of prayer and connection with the divine. And I release these words. I release these words, affirming them as they are and turning them over to the mind of God, knowing that God always says yes. God supports us in all things. So knowing that we are supported, knowing that we are guided, we say, thank you, God, in all of this. We let it go and we let it be. And so it is.
Together, your life and mine, till our hearts and bones are intertwined.